play traditional farming games like Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley, forget everything you know. Research Story just doesn't hand you seeds and say, okay, go ahead, farm, you're on your own. This game makes you earn your knowledge through actual scientific research, and it's absolutely brilliant. So here's how the research system actually works. First, you're going to need to find an animal or a plant in the wild and basically just kind of observe it. You walk up to them and you're gonna grab a sample. You drag your item over to this little magnifying glass and you start the research project. But once you get those research samples, that's just the beginning, which is when everything gets so interesting. Once you've collected that first sample and you started the research, you then have to go into a multi-step process. With plants being a little simpler, you simply have to go observe 2 of them and then collect them, plant them, cultivate them, whatnot. Animals, you have to, again, collect the sample, you have to observe 2 of them, and then you have to eventually tame one. All with the goal of befriending those animals, harvesting your crops, and completing that research scroll. So for plants, that means you're going to cultivate them in your garden plots, you're going to experiment with different growing conditions, and basically document the results. You don't really document them, but the game does that for you when you write your scroll. For animals, you need to befriend them, tame them, kind of understand what they need food-wise and everything, build their relationship, and then you eventually get the completion, and you make a scroll for that. Each of the scrolls has its own specific requirements, so you won't know exactly what you're getting into until you kind of start going through the process. They're all roughly about the same though, not too many differences. Some plants just take a little longer, some animals have slightly different requirements. So it's kind of like being a real scientist. You discover as you go. Now here's where I made a massive mistake that cost me about 2 hours of progress, so I don't want you to make the same error that I did. When I first started, I got so excited about all the different animals I could research. I loaded up my book on research animals, and those are a bit more complex and take longer than plants. I also didn't tame a chicken first. So let me tell you why that's a huge mistake. Animals take longer to research than the crops do, and they need to be fed regularly while you're researching them. So there I was. I only had the 1 crop in my research. I had limited slots because you only do 3 at the start. Meanwhile, I had to keep buying expensive food for the animals I got first because I was so caught off by the adorable cat with a little sprout coming out of its head. And of course, fox. Who doesn't want a fox? So there I was spending my money on animal food, making slow progress because it was draining my resources to have to go spend money all the time. And the animals, again, take longer. So here's a pro tip that will save you time and money. Start with the chicken first. Make that your first animal research while you're also doing a couple plants along the way. This is going to save you time and some money. Chickens are one of the first animals you can tame and befriend alongside those cats and those foxes that I mentioned. But chickens have the cheaper of the food options. They're everywhere, and you can complete their research scroll relatively quickly. But the genius part about doing chickens first is you unlock the ability to then go buy the egg bowl recipe and make that, which then opens up a whole nother food variety for other animals on the map and in your farm. So it kind of creates this snowball effect. You complete the chicken research, you learn the animal research mechanic without breaking the bank, and then you can afford to research these more expensive animals without going broke. And the recipe for the egg bowl isn't that expensive. And here's a tip that most players, at least I did, overlooked. It's always read your journal pages very carefully for every animal and plant you're researching. Seriously, I didn't click through and read everything. And the journal is packed with so many clues about care requirements, favorite foods, growing conditions, and things that when I skipped the notes, I missed out on this key information that allowed me to grow plants, and it completely baffled my mind and took me about 2 hours to figure out. You're going to get these tips that are going to make your growing easier and make your creatures even happier. And trust me, there are some trickier plants and animals that have specific needs that you're going to need to read those pages to really know. So take a minute just to read those and avoid the hours of mistakes that I was making. And here's a little teaser. I'm going to be working on a creature and plant care that'll break down some of these journal insights and show you how to really master the research story elements. So keep your eyes out for that. So once you've got your chicken foundations, here's how you're going to optimize your research pipeline. Balance your research slots between some quicker projects and a long-term one. So I would say do 2 plants and 1 animal at a time. This is going to allow you to keep researching things and expand your farm while not getting yourself bogged down all the time. Pay attention to the seasonal availability on some things because some animals and plants are only going to be available during specific seasons, so you want to plan your research calendar accordingly. And here's something the game doesn't tell you. Research projects can complement each other. So if you're researching an animal that might have a trait that'll help with your crops around, and plant research can help with your animals, so you're going to want to look for these synergies, but more on that later. The key to mastering research is resource management. Don't try to research everything at once. Start small, build the foundations off again with chickens and some basic crops, and then just kind of expand gradually. Keep track of your daily food requirements and costs for all your animals. If you're spending more on food than you're earning from doing the longer research projects, then you might have slipped up along the way. And always have a backup plan. Some research projects can take a little longer. So make sure to diversify between plants and crops and flowers. I came across one flower that has a longer cultivation time, so I've got that stuck in my journal as well now. So there you have it. The research system breakdowns that'll save you hours of frustration, losing time. Start with chickens, balance your research projects, make sure to read those pages, and manage your resources carefully. What research project are you most excited to tackle? Let me know in the comments down below, and if this helped you out at all, make sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe for more research story videos. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.